Hello there, everyone. This is Soul Super 17 here, and let me introduce like usual. I do not own this picture. This is not a video. Okay, so here's the thing. Downstairs again, taking care of the fire. I have classes in 2 days. You know, starting school again. Yay! Help me. I'm just joking. Nah, I'm enjoying school. So. I want to explain this what if. I know, this is Mori Jin, aka the Monkey King, aka the King of Beasts. You know, and here's the thing, I know he's immortal. I know that. But let's just say in this one, his immortality ran out. Unknowns to him, it was not taken away. And it was like taken away, and he became mortal after so long. Like the gods just decided to be a jerk to him, and they did that to him. One final big, to him, just to try to be a jerk. So he lived out his mortal life like he normally did when he didn't remember who he was. So he is on his deathbed. This is where it's taken part. So the thing is here, there is one God that felt sympathy for, the Monkey King, or you like to call him Mori Jin. And they go to him in the human realm. So they found a way how to do it. So they did. And when they do, they basically tell him, I will give you new life, but in another world. You will know no one. No one here will go to the world where you are going. I'm sorry, Monkey King. And he just smiles and goes, a new world means a new beginning. Well, I remember everything, though. And he goes, yes, and I will restore your immortality. He goes, what? What? Your new life, you will gain it the day you die. You'll be going back into becoming an immortal god as soon as you die again. And you will watch over that world as its guardian. And to make sure us gods do not come there. Make sure we don't come to that world/reality. Alright? As he nods and he says, it's a deal then, right? I says, yes. And they shake hands, and he basically showed his other hand. So that way the Monkey King would know that he was not lying. Actually, no, he holds both of his hands, and he says, now, go, Monkey King, and be anew with all your power, all your abilities, all your knowledge and your skills will be yours, your gear and everything. And so, he passes away. All his human friends were already dead. So they are in the afterlife, waiting for him and such. And he's there, but he tells them, sorry guys, it looks like I'm going somewhere else. And they're like, what? And he just says, yeah. It's been fun knowing you all. I'll still remember all of you. And then he looks at his best friend. The one that everyone says he's a bull. He always when he gets really serious, really mad, nothing can stop him. I'm not gonna remember these names because I'm not bringing them into the story, so I'm sorry. It's just at this part, So yeah. So basically, he says goodbye to all of them, and he bumps fists with his best friend, and he smiles and he says, "Wherever you go, remember us. Heck, actually, remember our skills, what we did, everything we done in our life. We'll live through you. All right, Mori." As then he nods. And then a let's just say a gate opens. And he says, it's time. As the god's right next to it and says, yes. I at least could have let you say goodbye to everyone you knew. Because I'm making this like years and years later. Sorry if you guys were, hoping that they were still alive. No, everyone from, they got out of high school, anime slash TV, slash webtoon, died. And this is like many, many, many years later. So yeah. So basically, he's walking to the gate, waving by, and he sees his, adopted grandfather. And he's crying, and he looks back at the god, and the god nods. He can. He knows what he was thinking. So basically, Moira runs over to him and hugs him. He's crying, saying he missed him so much. He's sorry he couldn't, and his grandpa says, no, you did everything you could, kid. You did everything you could, Moira. I'm proud of the man you became. A god. I already knew you were one. The Monkey King. Mori, wherever you go, remember, we live through you, like your friend said. Also, I am always, always have been proud of you. Got it? As, he nods. And then his last word says, if anyone hurts you in that world, that reality, if everyone neglects you, if everyone treats you like a monster, don't worry about it. Don't care. You are above them because of one reason. Whoever neglects you are wrong. Whoever mistreats you don't know you. And whoever tries to kill you, they are the monsters, not you. As Maurice just wiping away the tears says, yeah, I understand. He goes, now then, as he rubbles his head and says, now get going, kid. It's time for you to live again. And Maurice, waving bye to everyone again. And then he walks through the portal. But Maury's grandfather goes up to him and says, will he be treated right? He asks the guy, he goes, I don't know for sure. But if he does get treated the way he is by you, then he'll turn out just fine. But I fear his own family that he'll be born to will neglect him because of a great power that will be sealed inside of him. For a while, his mother would. But she'll find out the truth about him. She'll find out he's just not a monster, but a human, a god, and the one and only Monkey King. The one who can rival everyone in that world. She'll realize how horrible a mother she is because of the way he talks about her to certain people, I believe. I do not know for sure, but I caught a glimpse of it when he went into the gate. Now then, everyone, it's time for you all to sleep and get reincarnated. I'm sorry for your friend will not be here. As he bows to them and says, I cannot allow Mori to be treated like this again by us gods. I couldn't allow it. And everyone understands. And so, I know I already kind of started this what if, but this is what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Mori Jin and was neglected by his family. Key term, family. Only one person in his family is going to care about him. But for a while, she will not care about him, which is Kushina. So yeah. So anyways, on to the what if. Actually, I already was doing it. So anyways. So, as the nine-tailed fox is unleashed, Kushina, Minato, everything goes similar to canon. But in this time, Kushina is able to hold down the Nine Tails, and Minato was able to seal away the Nine Tails in Naruto. At least, almost all of its chakra. But Kushina was dying. Minato made the selfish choice and sealed some of it within Kushina still. At least a good enough portion to at least have her be alive. And Kushina was happy about this. unknowns to the outcome, but no one realizes. Naruto, eyes were open. Also, I'm technically having Naruto's change his name. Yeah, he's not gonna call Naruto in this one after a certain age. I'm sorry. I'm spoiling it. I spoil it. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You got to figure out what out of all the names I'm gonna choose. So yeah. Anyways, so basically he's knowing what's happening. He says, "Huh, the Nine Tails was sealed away. Pretty interesting." And and they say about chakra. Because he overheard them saying, like, don't use up all your chakra, and all that. And so, years go by. Kushina's raising Naruto. Minato, though, doesn't like Naruto at all. He very much rather not even have Naruto around or teach him anything because the Nine Tails within him. Minato in this one never liked the Nine Tails, but he loved Kushina. But now only a little bit of the Nine Tails in him is in Kushina, and most of it's in Naruto. He doesn't like Naruto because of it. Also, it's how Naruto is like as a baby. He's mostly more active, way more energetic. He's able to do things that most kids can't do. And they're having a hard time, so Kushina and him, hey, I mean by a hard time understanding. But basically, Kushina and Minato have 2 more kids, in 1 year. Basically twins. Menma and Nakara. And Nakara and Menma are gonna be spoiled brats. Not gonna lie, Minato's gonna favor them. Favoritism, am I right? And Kushina's gonna favoritism too. But not Naruto. He gets nothing. So basically though, as soon as Nakara and Menma were born, Minato says to the villagers that it's alright to harm Naruto. Treat him like a monster, and he's only gonna be a weapon. And so, what happens is, the villagers don't understand why. As soon as he basically tells them to not hurt him, treat him like because he's a baby and such. Kushina's feeding him all that, and right when Naruto's 4 years old, that's when the neglecting starts to happen. Him being neglected. They start to neglect him. They favoritism of Kushina and Minato. Minato doesn't, listen to Naruto. When Naruto asks him questions, Naruto learns on his own. Even Kushina doesn't. So he reads from books. He goes to the library. He starts reading books about the world that he lives. And by the time he's like almost 4.5, he nearly read half of the library, which that's all he does is read, eat, and train his body. He already knows, but he's training in the way of his grandfather's technique. Hold on. Okay, butchering her name. I'm butchering the name. I know it's Rin Noel Taekwondo, I believe. He's practicing it, and he's just focusing on his skills, which, this is him at 4.5 years old, which most people in the village sees Naruto somewhat just practicing in different locations of the village. Even though they're supposed to, mistreat him, the villagers don't. They feel like if they do, they could be wrecking something that is something about him that, they could, mess up. And they don't. They actually treat Naruto like family. Like, anyone in the village, any of the adults, in the village, treats Naruto like family. And this goes on for years. This goes on. Anyway, for, no matter how old he is. But anyways, 2 years have gone by. He is 6, while his brother and sister are at least a year younger, so they're 5. And so, Naruto has gone. Well, I'm saying they should be going to the academy, but Minato doesn't put him into the academy like most kids. He's trying to hold Naruto back, trying to make sure he does not get treated like normal kids, like a weapon, though. And Kushina does not, she looks the other way. But Hiruzen has interfered, even with the council, demanding that he goes into training as a ninja, go outside, and be treated as such as a human, which Minato has said, no, I am the Hokage, blah blah blah, my rule. And so, Danzo has had root ninjas constantly watching Naruto, not to take any of the Nine-Tails chakra. No, he has made sure that no one would come to harm him. So he even had them train him. They train him in taijutsu, but they figure out real quick that they outclassed them. He's basically 6 years old, and he's already able to take down most of, well, he can take down at least 4 root ninjas easily, if I in just taijutsu with his, Rendaru Taekwondo. But he tells them that he's willing to learn, their style of fighting. So they, he's learned from them, and he basically just watching them, and he copies the movements and such, and then he just keeps working on this. Heck, he already knows about chakra control and all that, but he knows he has way too much more than any human should even have. And so years go by, and the villagers have actually been celebrating Naruto's birthday when the time of the celebration, when the Nine-Tails was defeated by by the fourth Hokage. Everyone in the village comes together and buys Naruto gifts. Heck, they even have a place for Naruto to stay, because sometimes Minato and Kushina forget Naruto's even outside, and they lock up the house early. And so Hiruzen has got a place for Naruto to stay, like the apartments. And, he gets a lot of stuff for people, so they have actually treated him like a savior would, be a savior. But they do not tell him that. They do not know that he knows. And so, basically, this is when, as like I said, 6. So, I'm, 6 years old, that couple years later, but anyways, when Naruto is 8, he has been trained with the root ninjas. He has learned about ninjutsus from them. And so, but today, on a specific day, the former Hokage, Hiruzen, decides to train Naruto in the ways to use a bow staff, because he sees Naruto just grabs a long stick and starts to twirl around with it, and just basically using it like an actual bow staff. It's just a stick, like a long branch basically, which is surprising to him. So he decides when he's 8 years old he'll teach him. And Naruto's already physically fit, so during this time he did go to the academy. He's not a very good study, but he's very good at fighting. And basically, even so on his birthday, even though they're at the academy, Hiruzen did come to the class and says he's going to teach everyone how to use a bow staff. And he starts teaching everyone, and right away Naruto is already using it so well. He's already basically showing off. And heck, he actually able to throw up the bow staff into the air. And then, right when it's about to hit the ground though, he jumps up and hits it on it was in mid-air, it turned to become straight. He hits it and kicks it, and it goes right into a tree. I mean, no, not right into a tree. It hits a tree, bounces off, and Naruto runs to it, jumps up, grabs it, and then smacks the ground. And he just thinks to himself, I still got it, huh? This is gonna be fun. And everyone saw this and was shocked by this. Heck, basically, Minato has been training Nakura Menma ever since they hit 4 years old. And they're shocked about what Naruto just did. Heck, Minato was just walking by and he saw it. And he's like, how? How does this weapon knows this? And so Hiruzen asked him, Naruto, how do you know it? It was like, oh, simple. It's just the basics. I mean, well, I'm not rusty, but this weapon's pretty light, actually. Should I? I mean, he did say I have all my gear and such. So, freak it. He holds up his hand, and from the sky, something shoots down from the heavens and lands right in front of Naruto. Oh, basically, a how can I say this? A staff made out of rock. It's right in front of him as Naruto just kicks it. While it's spinning, he catches it and then he starts working with it. And then he says, "Extend!" Right when it hits the, like, right when he, made the flat part hit the ground, it extends upwards. And he's just holding on to it. Then he says, "Retract!" As then it comes up and then basically it comes small. Then, back to normal. And then he's basically saying, he changes the weight to say heavier, heavier, heavier. And it's increasing the weight. Basically, then he says extend again. As in, it basically, goes right into the ground and he's sliding down it. Then he says retract. And then he just starts, basically everyone you see the ground underneath Naruto's feet are basically cracking. And everyone's shocked by this as Naruto just holds it perfectly in one arm around it while the other one's basically, how can I say this? He has his hand with his left hand's extended while his fingertips are just holding it in place, and his left leg is and he's bent down. His knee, his leg is extended while his right leg is bend, and he's leaning back, and everyone's just seeing this and shocked. And he says, that seems good. So then he says smaller, and it gets small, and then he puts it inside his ear, and then he feels, this is gonna get interesting. And so after that, Hiruzen decides to train Naruto. And Menma and basically Nakara ask, their father to teach them a jutsu that can blow away Naruto. But, he says, basically that's when they get home. He was about to show them the Rasengan. And so, he says, we'll have to work on this. Make sure you have enough chakra for this and such. So Naruto was able to get home before, them, without them knowing, because Naruto decided to live on his own. And, the council agreed to this without Minato knowing, and Kushina. And so, he's gonna live on his own as soon as he's 8 years old. That was another thing that they weren't too sure Naruto would be okay with. But, Naruto's been neglected. He knows this, and he doesn't like it. So he's alright with leaving them. So yeah, but Naruto sees Minato making the Rasengan, and he hears him explain it to them. And they don't get it at first, but Naruto understands it somewhat more than them. He ain't dumb, but when it comes to battle and strategy, I'm making him a little bit more tactical. Be able to understand it. So yeah. So he thinks, maybe I can try that out. Yeah, that'll be a good idea. And so he packed up his stuff. He didn't have much stuff, just only clothing. That was it. And he basically leaves. Kushina starting to realize, and worry about Naruto. When he was 6.5 years old, she kept keeping tabs on him. She basically heard what he did. She realized that she wanted to praise Naruto for he's not home. So she thinks, he's out playing with friends. I mean, the kids in his school aren't friends with him, but the people who, everyone in the village, the parents of those kids, always introduce Naruto to them. And the kids like Naruto. Heck, he actually was very strong for his age. So little kids, he's able to play with them and, give them piggyback rides, and basically he's able to climb up the buildings without chakra. But so Danzo has even came over when Naruto was 7 and trained him in a few jutsus, which was unsuccessful, but it's because he says, I actually have too much chakra. It's hard for me to control it. I need to work on more chakra control, which was shocking to them. They asked how much. He goes, well, because of the nine tails that's inside of me, which mostly is almost of it. It's like 10% of it's in my mom. I have at least twice as much, and it seems like I have a lot more than most people. So, a Sentry Ninja is, there to sense Naruto's chakra. It is, how can I say this? You know how when Uzumaki has 2 times the normal person, then a Jinchuriki has twice as much as that? Well, Naruto has twice as much as a normal Jinchuriki should have. From Ken Naruto to have a lot of chakra, he has 3 times that amount of chakra because he was a god. And so they cowered in fear of Naruto because of this. And then he goes, is it way too much a normal person should ever have? As they nod, and he goes, sorry. I guess I should explain myself. And so Naruto asked Hiruzen called a secret meeting, and I'm gonna say they have speakers and microphones to tell the villagers. But they go into a location where Minato would not know. And so Naruto tells them who he originally was before, and explains it and tell them the techniques and the godly abilities he has, which shocks them. They ask, to prove it, and he basically has the staff come out of his ear, and it says enlarge, grow, and then it turns back into a normal staff. And then he says, could I? Let's try this. And then he summons out his godly form. The ring around his head, the ring of binding, and then his armor. Like what you see in the picture. He brings that onto himself. And everyone is shocked by this, but he says, then he deactivates it, put the staff back, he makes it small and puts it back in his ear, and says he'd rather not, use it that much. It's basically he basically could kill a lot more people. And he'd rather not do that yet, if he has a chance to not harm anyone. So yeah, they understand. And none of the kids know this, only the adults. But they actually care about Naruto a lot. But they ask, is that why, so one of the adults asks, is that why your dad doesn't, take care of you? He goes, no, it's because of the Nine Tails. He hates them. I can already tell. But, it probably isn't a bad, creature. All living creatures could talk. I told you I was the ruler of them. I was the Monkey King, I was the Demon King, the King of Savages, I had all these titles. So I should know. The Ninetales didn't look like a bad person. It could talk. And it didn't want to be, caged. But, so Hiruzen, this one, instead of Jiraiya having to key Minato trusts Hiruzen. So Hiruzen decides to tell Naruto that he has the key. But first, he has to talk to the Ninetales. And he just says, alright. So he gets in the position to meditate, to go into his mindscape. Everyone's like, is that safe? They're thinking of that. But they say, this is Naruto, we have to believe in him. And so, Naruto goes into his mindscape. And Ninetale Fox says, so, you were a god at one point in your life. He goes, still am. I just will have to die, though, again. But I still have my godly powers, abilities, all my knowledge, and the ability to use all certain pressure points to unleash my strength. So, yeah. You mind talking? So they, in his mindscape, they're talking. He's making some jokes. The Ninetale's laughing, and yes. So wait, you're the Monkey King, yeah. And where's your tail and everything? I was like, oh, that's just a misunderstanding. Just because I'm called the Monkey King doesn't mean I am. I rule monkeys. Well, he says demons basically, but that looks like monkeys. You get the gist of it, right? He goes, yeah. And so they kind of regained a connection to the point where he doesn't tell him his name, but he says, "So you got any rules for me, kid?" He goes like, "Oh yeah, if I release you, you don't try to take over my body. You don't try to. I'll let you have control, and you talk to the townspeople. All right?" He goes, "All right. When you learn how to use chakra control, I'll give you something to at least summon me into a smaller form, and I can walk around and talk to the townspeople and get to know them. By the way, I hate your father." And he was like, "Yeah, I don't really like him either. But my mom seems really nice. She just listens to my dad, so actually, as you may so quotation marks says dad." Like, and then Naito falls laugh. He goes, "So tell me, what was your father figure like? Really?" He goes, "He was a strong man, very strong actually. Someone considered him the strongest human being in the world. And actually, he actually cut off his own arm at one point, and still was able to fight on without it." And the Naito was shocked, and he was only the human he had, the Naito asked, and he goes, "Yes, actually." "I consider myself more human than anyone." Which the Ninetales can see the purity in his eyes, and he says, "Of course you are. Alright then. It's a deal." Alright, as he basically puts his fist through the bars, as in Naruto pound, basically fist bump him, and he smiles, goes, "Alright." And then he, awakens and he says, "Alright," he says, he tells them the rules that he made for them, between them, and Hiruzen gives him the key. He opens up the seal, and the Ninetales, he goes back to his mindscape, opens up the seal, and changes it into the mountain range of one of his memories. No, he changed it into his, home at one point, which brings back many memories for Naruto, or should I say Mori. And he says, "So your name was originally, before coming here?" "Mori Jin. I think it's about time I changed it, my name, right?" And and he says, "Yeah." "Alright then, Mori. You're my partner. I'll protect you as much as I can. Alright?" As he nods, and then he comes out and goes, "Hiruzen, everyone, I told you I had a name before, right?" And they said, "Yeah, what was it?" He goes like, "Well, besides the Monkey King and, his godly name," he basically says, "My name was Mori Jin. And I'd like to have my name changed to that." And they nod. But he has basically they say okay. He's Hiruzen and the council was there, even Danzo, the root ninjas, everyone in the village was there, and this was at nighttime, so Minato and the Kushina, no one knows about it. So yeah. So they get the papers. He changed his name to Mori Jin, and he asked, if he can dye his hair a different color, and make it to the point where he has never cut his hair. His hair has been like not like this, like in the picture, but it has gone longer. He asked if he can just leave it like that. No, he doesn't ask. He just says he just wants to dye his hair. Okay, but I mean by everybody, I mean like everyone. There is no Minato is kind to everyone in the village besides Naruto. He does not care about Naruto. He neglects him. The whole entire village massacre does not happen, and basically the Hyuga and the and the Uchihas care about Naruto like their own family. So they actually teach him some things, and he basically taught the Hyuga about the pressure points too, about using the eyes and such, and they were surprised by that they're actually way more deadlier things than chakra points. And yeah, I mean, so basically that's how he became friends with the Hyuga. Hinata does not. This is not Hinata's ship. Okay, this is something else. I have a idea. I'm just not saying, and I'm not changing anyone into a female. Okay, all the males are males, and it's not Sakura ship. because she would not handle Mori Jin's power. She will get her. She would probably die. So, every girl's still a fan of Sasuke, but but it's less though. They like Menma, even though he's like a year younger than them. He's a prodigy. They think no, it's just because of freaking Minato training him. That's the only reason why. But so all the adults call him Mori Jin, like Mori or Jin, doesn't matter to him. And he dyes his hair black. He actually, the clothing shop owner says to him, "We can go get you some new clothes then. Clothes that your parents will not recognize you in." And so they ask like, "How was his clothes before?" And he just explains what they're like. So he does a decent, like he designs the clothing. He designs a couple pairs of like shirts and such. Um, but the boots he made them right away. He says it's just a rough sketch of, a rough trial of it, but I can work on it better. So yeah, so basically though, he after that, a year goes by, and he already met Harun and summoned the monkey that can turn to the staff. He met him, he fought him, he won easily against Haruzan. Danzo, they worked on chakra control along with the root ninjas and the Jonins. But during class time, he acts like the goofball. But then he changed his hair color one day, and well, people didn't recognize him. Like he actually came in with different clothing on than what Naruto would wear. So yeah, and heck, the actual design of the clothing looks like a little bit of this. The black shirt is longer though. It has a black shirt, and the pattern, and plus it also has like a little bit of the pattern on, of this, with like as a jacket that he can wear, and have a hood and everything else. Which he's surprised by it. He actually thanks the owner. One day he comes into this and looks. He comes into the school looking like this. No one recognizes him. Not his own sister and brother. The Whiskers, though, he has them no matter what, and so does Nakura. Nakura, well, no one recognizes him because he's not paying. They're paying attention. Pay attention to the clothing he's wearing, and he's wearing boots too. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is one day in class. They're showing the Shadow Clone Jutsu. So they call up, so they say, Mori, come down here, and he says, all right. He comes down and he says, basically asks, okay, do you want me to explain the jutsu and then show you it? It was yeah, and so they show him the jutsu. Basically, he explained what the jutsu is supposed to be, and then he shows it to him, the hand signs very slowly, and then the shadow clone happens, and so he does it, but he puts way too much chakra in it, and it makes about 500 clones in the room. And then he hears one of the students say, "Hey, Mori, get your Mori, get your elbow out of my side," which shocked them, and then they all disappeared, because he said then he says release. He does the release sign, and then they all poofed, which everyone's shocked by, and then he says, "Good job, Mori, good job." Nakura then realized, saying, "Wait, that's Naruto. Why are you calling Mori?" He says, "Oh, I changed my name. I'm not Uzumaki and Naruto anymore. Not anymore. It's Mori Jin." And he puts his fingers up and just stick his tongue out. Like he makes like a peace sign, stick his tongue out. His sister, which she doesn't hate at all. She smiles at that. She considers Naruto being someone to catch up to. Her father, she hates. Like she does not care about her father. Her sister. No, his sister realized that Naruto is stronger than his father. Than their father. He is stronger than most people in the village. She respects Naruto, but she ignores him because she wants to catch up to him. And so, though, during this time, Hiruzen, came in. He heard the commotion, though he was passing by. Then he heard about the clones, and he asked, one of the kids asked, "Sensei, why didn't the clones not disappear when it, how were they able to hurt us and such?" And then third Hokage says, "Because he was able to make the actual clones physical, real. He made the multi-shot clone jutsu." Astounding, Mori. Astounding. I'm simply amazed by you. Now then, since that happened, it seems like you do not need to stay in this class for the rest of the day. Is that right, Hiruzen? I mean, not Hiruzen, Iruka. As Iruka nods, he says, go. Go and, do whatever you need to do. Free day for you. Which, Menma is kind of mad at that because his brother is stronger than him and he's supposed to be the strongest, which his father is saying, you will become Hokage of this village. And so, what happens is, he goes and right away, like Hiruzen glares at, Menma. And Menma, goes wondering why. Just thinking, why? Why is this happening to me? And then Hiruzen walks out, takes Naruto, and body flickers away with him. Like, they taught him how to do the body flicker. And so they're at the training grounds, in which, Menma was able to get in contact with his, he made a little scroll and send it home, told his mom that Naruto was out, training. Like, he's out of school, he got out early. It's not fair, go get Naruto and tell, bring him back home. Bring him back to the school, because if he can't, I should be. If I can't get out, then he shouldn't be. Which, he was telling, thanks, Dad. But it's his mom who got it. She crumbled up the paper, took it, with her, and as soon as she gets to a nearby trash can, she throws it into the store's trash can. So she goes around, looking for Naruto. She doesn't know where they are, know where anyone is happening. And so, this is when he's, 9. But basically, she doesn't know what happened, where Naruto's been. She's been searching for him all this time. But Naruto's been mostly training. He's gone to the root complex. He has read everything on ninjutsus that they have. Heck, the massacre did not happen. And then the Hyuga has actually let Naruto go into their, and write down everything in a book for him. And he has read, it was multiple books that they did this. They've been doing it for years. And it took them about till he was 9 years old as present, which he's been reading them. Heck, they had to give him a new place to live with his own apartment. He leaves the apartment, he goes to his own house, which basically he can't pay for it. But Hiruzen says it's all right. It's on us. Like, people don't mind giving him money to do it, but he says no, I'll work for it. So he does jobs for them. He's gone on missions already. He's been going on missions during his time when no school happens. He has taken on D-rank missions and completed them with ease. And so he pays rent, but he didn't do that with the, basically an apartment building, which he didn't like. So he's been paying rent. He keeps everything he doesn't buy nothing. He just buys food and keeps his place limited. He doesn't need objects. But he does have a bookshelf and all he has is books. But he does also have a few things that, that kids should have. So, but he also has training dummies. But anyways, give me a minute. I have to go take care of the fire. Alright, I'm back. But, and so, he read all the Hyugas. The Uchihas gave him jutsus that he can try to learn. Heck, they even gave them the history of the, Uchihas. And he was grateful to them for it. Even though he does not have the Sharingan, they treat him like family. Sasuke treats him like a brother. Heck, even Itachi treats him like his own little brother. So, and, even, basically Hinata was kidnapped at one point. Naruto saved her. He was basically just walking along, and they heard, every attack. Basically, someone, came and took Hinata. Naruto rushed in, and basically kicked the person so hard they went flying into another guy. And then this, they were like, what the? And then he did one of his techniques. The technique with the two dragons. He basically launches kick and the dragon spears go right at them, basically, hitting them. And they're like, and sent flying into a wall. He gets Hinata. Hinata says thank you, and then, he jumps, he carries her off. She considers him his best, as her best friend. She does not love him because Naruto says even though she is who she is, it's just that he's not looking for no love interest right now. Which he ain't. I'm not going to change no one's, but I'm thinking about making it maybe I want to keep it in the village, so I'm not doing an Inko one, not Inko. Sorry, I'm not doing an Ino one. I can't do a Sakura one because no one likes Sakura. And I'm not doing a Hinata because I'm not a big fan of Hinata. I don't know why. It's just, I just don't know. And so, I'm making this more of a, maybe, I'm in between two. A Tamari and 10-10. I haven't done a Tamari one, so I'm thinking about doing them more. I'm leaning more towards that. I'm gonna let you guys decide, 10-10 or Tamari. All right. Okay. So Naruto basically saved her, and that was when he was in the middle a month before his birthday. So yeah, and Kushina wasn't around for her. She's basically back to what I was saying though. She's basically looking for Naruto, and she asks a villager, a random guy at the shop, and he just says, "I don't know where he is," and basically, she leaves, but she basically turns the corner and then basically waits, and she hears what the guy had to say because she could tell he was lying. And another person comes and he goes like, Kushina was looking for him, huh? He goes, that's one and the person asks, another person in the store asks, and the shop owner says, yeah, I don't know where he is. He's probably down then training the Hokage's training ground that Hiruzen had back in the day. He goes, yeah, his training ground when he trained his students, right? Yeah. Man. Hiruzen and Naruto have been getting close. Do you think the Root Ninjas and Danzo are there? Probably helping out, and even some Jonins? Probably. And that kid is really strong. They don't know what they had. Those two, they neglected Naruto. They didn't even know what he's like. Man, I hope they don't find out. If his dad finds out, he's probably gonna try to have an execution. And then that's what the shop owner's been saying. And then the one guy said, and then the guy and another person comes in, which is a woman, and another guy just says, if Lord Fourth Hokage tries anything, we'll have him executed, and which surprises Kushina. And so she goes over she remembers Hiruzen's training ground when he trained Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. And so she gets there. She sees Naruto training, fighting with his staff, and then just literally wailing on everyone. He's fighting in the the Renwell Taekwondo, fighting style, and then he goes right into just taijutsu. And basically, they say, after Hiruzen says, all right, that's enough, Naruto. And this was with Root Ninjas. He goes, oh, no, he doesn't say Naruto, he says Mori. He was right. Which Kushina just says, Mori? Why did he change his name? And he says, Naruto, have you learned how to, use most of the jutsus that we've given you? He goes, yes, actually, I'm able to use wind jutsu, fire jutsu, water jutsu, lightning jutsu, and earth jutsu. Only the basics, though. Alright. Your chakra reserves are way more than most people have, so you're probably able to use the fire style jutsu from the Uchihas. Yeah. But there is one jutsu I saw my dad teach, Nakara and Menma, that I want to try. It was alright. As, not Naruto, as, Mori closes his eyes. He sticks out his hand. Everyone is surprised by this. They don't know what's going to happen. Even Kushin doesn't know what's happening. And so, all of a sudden, chakra starts to form around, in his palm of his hand as it starts getting bigger. He's feeling the flow of the chakra. Kurama's not interfering. He's just thinking, let's see what Mori has, in store for us. And so, while that is happening, basically a ring of a cloud and lightning starting to form around him. Basically, it's around his feet, and then the clouds around his feet as lightning start to hit him. It's starting to make his hair stand up. It's basically looking like there's a dragon going around him. As then when he opens up his eyes, the lightning just got bigger. As it's a fully formed Rasengan, but lightning's on it. As then he basically just starts blitzing towards a tree. A bunch of trees that are right in front of him. As he's just going down even lower. His hands right into near the ground as the Rasengan. It's not even hidden, but the ground underneath his hand is starting to break apart, leaving a pathway of destruction on it. And then he's going like a light. It looks like he's going faster than anyone can ever see. As then they just hear a yelling out saying, Rasengan! And then an explosion, but not an ordinary one. It is a normal Rasengan ball, but then it looks like a dragon of lightning going through it and going right into the trees, carving out a pathway. As the lightning disappears, his hair goes back down, and he goes like, he remembers of the person that made a clone of him, when that clone version of him came along, but when he said he was his own person, such as if you read the Webtoons comic, I can't remember the guy's name, I'm just saying, he has a flashback to that. He learned the guy's technique, which he kind of feels bad for, but he said he could have done it, but in his prime he could have, but not now. And, but hey, he learned how to do it, right then and there. He just smiles. He goes, I guess I look like from that or me. I'm still able to do things I only see once. Oh, it's because of the chakra too, and me. Thanks, me. As everyone's in shock, Hiruzen and the Root Ninjas come by, including Donzo, and they say, that was amazing. They're praising him, but he says, it's nothing, really. It's just something I did by accident with the lightning. I was only trying to do the Rasengan. Still needs a little bit of work, though. The lightning kept it stable, though. And Hiruzen goes, what do you mean? He was like, well, he basically explains how he didn't really have the control of the flow and keep it like a good roundness, but the lightning was keeping it all together. And it enhanced his speed, causing him to have basically almost like a tunnel vision of what's happening. But for some weird reason, it didn't. And that's when he was able to hit his target so easily. Which they were kind of surprised about him. Kushina saw this. And, well, she's just smiling. Not because of Naruto, what he did. Because she sees Naruto just being a kid, but he's being trained and these people care about him. She realized that she made a mistake of neglected him. And so she walks over to to Mori, Hiruzen, Danzo, and the Root Ninjas and the Jonins. And she goes, Naruto, it's nice to see you again, because she hasn't seen him in a year. she's been worried sick about him, and Minato has been trying to get her to eat. She eats once every week, every other day. Like she skips a day of eating to go look for Naruto, and he goes, "Oh, hi, mom. Have you been doing well?" And he can tell she has not been eating, and then he basically runs over to her and basically, basically feels her arm and has her goes down on her knees and ties her shoulders, and he can say, "You have not been eating, have you?" She goes, "Why?" She goes, "I can tell." "Why?" And she says, "Because I've been looking for you." He goes, "Huh? You've been neglecting me. Why would you look for me?" And she starts crying, and she says it's because of, and then he says, "the Nine Tails, right? He wasn't evil or mean. He just doesn't like to be locked up or cooped up all there. If I was him, I wouldn't either." And she nods, but Minato explained it in a way that didn't brainwash her, but made her kind of feel the way he felt like the Nine Tails was, a weapon, and whoever holds it should be a weapon. Even though she holds it, had it in her, steal away, he kind of manipulated her to feel that way. She realized it when he was 6. She tried slowly to be the mother for Naruto while he had still the name Naruto. She asked, "Oh, why is your name different?" He says, "Oh, I changed it to Mori Jin." And there's a long story, but I mean, I live on my own now. It's pretty nice. I got a whole entire house to myself, plus a library of the Hyuga and Uchiha's the Uchiha's jutsus, their knowledge, including the basics of the Sharingan, along with the Hyuga's, palm style and all that, and which she's shocked by it. And she goes, "Wait, why do you have that?" And he says, "Oh, the whole entire village is my family. I've been raising me ever since I was 4." And which Kushina just realized. Anytime, her sons, like Menma and Nakura, were getting stuff from her and Minato, Naruto was somewhere else, probably getting something and having it stored away. Heck, anytime Naruto got a new toy, it was always better than Menma's toys, and Menma always took them, and then he gets a better one than that. And she never understood how. Now she does. The villagers, the council, Danzo, everyone was taking care of Naruto when it was her and Minato's job to. She starts to feel ashamed, and then Mori hugs her and tells her it's not her fault. It's that guy's fault. She goes, "Huh?" He says it's Minato's fault. "He's not my father, and he never will be. The only person I ever will consider my father is the man who raised me before." She goes, "Who raised you?" Before? She's confused then. Hiruzen says, "That is a long story that you will have to come back to my place and hear it from him." "Alright, Kushina," and she nods. So they end training. Kushina goes back to Hiruzen's place along with Mori, and so he tells her the story of the Monkey King, and then Mori Jin. And after everything, and how he came to be called Naruto Uzumaki. But then how he changed his name back to Mori Jin. He laughs at the end of it saying, "Well, that's it." And she's surprised. She doesn't care about the whole entire Monkey King, godly, power, immortality, none of that. She's surprised that everyone in this village, knowing that Naruto had the nine-tailed fox in him, he was in Jinchuriki, they treated him just like family. And she asks, "Could I live with you?" He smiles and says, "Of course. But not Nakura or Menma or Minato." She says, "I know. Just me. That's it." I don't like how he's been treating you anyways. So I want to get a divorce with him. And she looks at Haruzen and she asks, could you make the papers or no? And so he nods in agreement. She asks, who will you be with? Kakashi. I technically want to make Kakashi his dad. You know, why not? Kakashi, on paper, is his adopted dad. No, his stepdad. They don't get married. It's just, she asks Kakashi if she would not mind, raising, Mori with her. Just to teach him some things, and which he says, what about Minato, sensei? She explains the reasoning. Even he realized that Minato has been neglecting Naruto. He's been watching Naruto, since he was 4, because of Danzo's orders and Haruzen's. And he was one of those people that have been training Naruto, when he was like I said, since he was little. So he basically always came by check on Naruto every day when he was like basically when he was like put living in an apartment building by himself. He always made sure Naruto had the breakfast ready and such. He was already treating Naruto like a son, and so he signs the paper. Basically, as soon as she gets the divorce with Minato asks why. She just says, I can't take this anymore. We have another son, but you're only treating him like a weapon. He is not a weapon. He is our son. He is a human being. He goes, no, he is only a weapon. Then she basically slaps Minato and just starts crying and saying, then what was I to you? He goes, what? He goes, I was also the bear, the Jinchuriki of the Nighttail Fox, and I still am. So am I only a weapon? Huh? Did you just marry me because I'm basically a Jinchuriki? He goes, Christian, that's not what I'm. She goes, no, just sign the papers already. And then he does. He's upset. Mando gets depressed. He's not gonna blame Naruto. He blames himself more than anything in the world. And so, Kushina then he basically is about to leave when he asks, "What about your things?" As then Mori, or okay, Naruto appears through opens the door, says, "All right, mom, everything's ready. All my clones are taking care of them." And she goes, "What?" He goes, "Oh, hi, Minato. Oh, nice to see you again." He goes, "Wait, who are you?" He goes, he sees the whiskers and the blue eyes. Just the hair is longer and it's not yellow. He goes, "What the?" He goes, "Oh, like my hair color? It's black." uh, anyways, Shadow Clone, the Shadow Clones have everything. They're already at the apartment. I mean, at the the comp my place. So yeah. Also, saw Nakara, saw her training. Give her some pointers. She did not like that. Then he scoffed at me and said, "Weakling." And then when Kushina gets tears away from her eyes, she starts laughing at that. Says he doesn't know anything about you. He was like, "Nope." And so Minato demands to know what's happening. As then Naruto, then Mori's eyes start glaring as a pressure in the room only Minato can feel. He goes like, "You don't demand nothing from me. You're just lowly. You're nothing more than a creature of this world. Nothing more, nothing less. To me, you're just an ant. So shut it." As Krishna says, "Now, dear, come on, please don't be that way." She knows Mori could get really mad and very terrifying, and he basically stops and says, "Sorry about that, mom." Really quick mood swing. So Minato was shaking his boots. Basically, he was afraid, and so what happens is, Kushina leaves. A few days later, Kakashi moves in. She signs a paper to be his stepfather. They're just not married. He considers a Kakashi, you know, not like a brother, but more like a father figure. And he is, when Kakashi says, "You don't have to call me anything, just call me Kakashi, our big brother," he says, "Well, I already have a big brother, which is Itachi, Uchiha, so let me call you Dad." He's what? I mean, everyone has been treating me like their own family member, so I kind of have like a lot of moms and dads. But Dad. That's all he says. You're my dad. The dad I'm going to go to if I have problems. He's like, okay. Alright, Mori. And then he whispers to Kushina and goes like, I don't know why. I guess I'm the main dad. And she nods. He's like, okay. And then he says, alright. So, he says, anyways, want to get some ice cream, kiddo? He kind of just got into the role of it already. So, yeah, they go get ice cream. So, years pass. And that Mizuki? Yeah, Mizuki doesn't hate Naruto. Doesn't. He hates Menma. He tries to ruin Menma's, a lot of his position. Like, a lot of, Menma's grades. So he's, like, average. And Mizuki did not have to do nothing. Menma's just really, really not that, good. It turns out, like, at studying, because he thinks, oh, he's going to get everything if he doesn't study. Because he let the ego of, I am the fourth Hokage's son, get to him. So, yeah. And they're, like, 13... They're 13 years old, and it's the day of the exam, to see if they'll become ninjas. And Minato's there, along with Hiruzen and Iruka, along with Mizuki. And when, Nakara is actually the one that studies and trains, she passes easily. Menma got because of freaking Minato changed the things what he had to do. And then Naruto, he made it more harder for Naruto. Naruto studied a lot. Kushina made sure, even Kakashi, and so on and so forth. He basically passed it either way with Minato's messing up. He advanced. He had advanced knowledge that Minato did not know. And so, what happens, basically in the Shadow Clone, trying to do the simple transformation, Naruto passes. Kurama even helped him with his, chakra control. He's even helping with that, too. And so, when it comes to the multi-Shadow Clone, when it comes to the clone jutsu, he made 50, which Minato was shocked. He was, how? And basically, he says, oh, this isn't even the half of it. I have a couple at home training right now. He goes, what? He goes, yeah, this is the multi-shadow clone jutsu. He goes, how do you know that forbidden jutsu? How? Minato says, and then Hiruzen says, easy. He was able to do it at the age of 8 to 9 years old. And he seems to outclass everyone in this, school. Basically, he's the smartest student in it, while your other kid, Nakara, is third with Sasuke Uchiha. Which, Minato's kind of a little bit upset because it should be Menma or, Nakara. And so, he gets the headband, and Kakashi celebrates with Kushina. And yeah, Kushina's, just having, Kakashi living there, just having a father figure in Naruto's life. That's all. I don't know how old they were when Naruto was born, but I think they were in the mid-20s, because if Naruto's a teenager, he should be... I really don't know how old they were. Because of... I'm thinking... Yeah. Kushina doesn't want to marry anyone else. she's okay with having Kashi as this father-in-law, but they're just not married. So yeah, I'm just having like that. But who knows? Maybe I'll change it. Maybe I'll change it to where Kakashi finds someone else, or Kushina finds someone else, or goes back with Minato. Or just maybe I'll kill off Minato. Nah, I'm gonna have him redeem himself. Just not now. But so after the whole entire thing, he gets his picture taken. He just smiles, and and that's how basically that big smile, his two fingers up for peace, and so that's how his picture taken. Now the whole entire Konohamaru thing happens, but in a different way. Konohamaru doesn't try to go after the third Hokage or the fourth Hokage. He tries to basically go after Mori. He says, "Big brother Mori, I'm here too," and then he falls on his face. And Mori just laughs a little and just says, "Nice try, Konohamaru." And so he leaves. Minato was too busy for to get the papers done, so it was Hiruzen who was doing it. So yeah, um, he just laughed at Konohamaru, and Mori just walking out, just talking like old friend, like talking like big brothers, like a big brother to a little brother and such. And so everyone that's younger than him always considered Naruto a big brother. So yeah, but anyways, then it's the assignments to have someone to be with someone else. Also, I forgot Mizuki, whatever, the guy that tries to kill Naruto along with Iruka. Naruto beats up Mizuki. He's different in this one. But anyways, just want to point that out. So he is he's so happy for Naruto passing. I forgot. Anyways, the day of the assignments to their senseis, for the Genins, it's Nakra and Manma on a team. Kushina being the leader, along with another random student. She doesn't know, and then it's Kakashi. It's the same thing. Sakura is still a Sasuke fan, and I'm gonna have it where, and then he's just happy to be on a team with Sasuke. Sakura doesn't really like Naruto in this one still, but she's able to tolerate him. But he sees Ten, and he waves hi to her, basically during after everything was done, and she waves hi to him. Basically, they get to a little bit of chatting while they're waiting and such. Ten just laughs, and then she kind of got a little bit. Oh wait, no, I don't think they were in the classroom, so no. So it's not in this one, but he knows Ten. Like they had a few moments where they talked outside of outside of school and such, and just yeah. So yeah. Anyways, no wait, this should be in the room. No, I changed it. That's what I was saying about and them just talking. So Ten asks, "How is everything with your mom since she's living with you?" She goes, "It's been great actually. She treats me like a mother should." But she says, "I'm happy for you. What about your sister and your brother?" Nakura, she comes by and visits actually now and then. He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, Dad. My dad." Well, he says, "Dad." He says, "She, and Tenten says, "You can just say his name." He goes, "All right." Minato doesn't really care about me. He focuses on Menma, and it seems like he's neglecting Nakura. So yeah, Menma is just teasing Nakura a little bit because over after Kushina left, he focused on Menma, trying to get him stronger than Naruto, and Nakura's been left out. So Naruto goes over to Nakura though after he hears Menma saying Dad doesn't love you no more because he's been training me so much. boasting about it, as then Naruto just flicks Menma right in the cheek, sent him flying to the wall. And he looks at his sister. She was holding back her tears, and he just says, "It's all right. If you want, I can help you train." And she goes, "What? No, you're my, goal to try to beat." As Naruto just, as Mori just laughs, and he says, "You can't really beat me. I'm the Monkey King." She goes, "Huh?" He goes, "I'll explain everything to you, little sis. All right." She nods, and she says, "Come by my house. All right." She goes, "Huh?" Ask mom for the address and just come by. Don't bring Menma or dad. Don't bring Menma or Minato, alright? She nods, and basically, unknowns to Minato, the whole entire sealing jutsus, the sealing jutsus that Kushina, had from the Uzumaki were moved over to Mori's house. So he became a sealing master, and he made sure that he can never get that, 5-element seal on him. He made sure of that. So yeah, so basically, uh, everyone leaves. He goes back to 1010. He says, "Sorry about that." She goes, "No, I understand. It's good that you still care about your sister." He goes, "Yeah, Monoma's just a lost cause." But anyways, I'm gonna go back to my team. So yeah, so basically, Sasuke is watching this, and he was clutching his fist when he heard Menma's voice, teasing Nakara, and Mori, seeing this, goes, "So, you have a crush on my sis?" He goes, "No." He goes, "It's all right." Whatever, dope. He says, and he was like, "I thought we were brothers in arms." Basically, I thought we were brothers, Sasuke. And Sasuke says, I'm sorry, please don't cry." Because he was just falling through tears, and then he was like, "Psych." He's like, "Why you?" And Sakura doesn't understand them. And basically, Sasuke says, "Oh, easy. We're like brothers." I mean, my family treats him like, like he's a part of it. And then Sakura says, "Everyone does, including my own." It's kind of creepy. Which then Mori just says, "Well, you have a father who treats you like nothing, just like a weapon." She goes, "What? Why?" He goes like, "Reasons. You'll find out sooner or later, so I won't tell you now." She goes, "All right." So that's when everyone's starting to leave and such, and Kakashi's late. But Kakashi's 5 minutes late in this one because Mori, he doesn't want to leave a bad impression on his son, well, his stepson. So he's there early. Mori kind of helped him not stay at the rock with Obito and Rin's name on it. So yeah, he was basically just there 5 minutes late. And he goes, "Sorry about that. I was helping out somebody." And Mori just says, "All right, legit." He says, "All right." And yeah, so he says, "Meet me on the roof in 5 minutes." So wait, 5 minutes. He goes, "Nah, make it 15." So that'd take a while. So he body flickers. Mori body flickers. Sakura's Shaw. Sasuke's not. And yeah. And so they go. So basically, after waiting, they do go over the whole entire dream, and it's still his. Basically Sasuke's dream is to surpass somebody, and his goal is to surpass and beat somebody after being his brother, basically. Sakura still is, in love with Sasuke. Just being Sakura, useless. A little. She also has a goal is to basically show everyone that she is not useless because everyone has called her useless in this one, and she wants to prove everyone she's not. So she has been training, but not as much, but not really much. Like she's training a lot more than in her canon self, which I don't think was any. Let's say she trains for when she trains about 50% of her life. No, 50% of her life so far she has been training, along with, playing, hanging out with Ino and all that. So yeah. Anyways, Kakashi tells everyone saying, "All right, I would say don't eat for tomorrow." Wait, no, Naruto's Mori's dream. Mori's just saying, "My dream." They says what he likes is training his mom, the people of the village. Danzo, the council, Haruzen, Kakashi, Sasuke, the whole entire. He says he likes everyone in the village besides Menma, his sister, a little bit. He's iffy on his sister now, and Minato, which Sasuke doesn't even like Minato or Menma, honestly. Which, well, Sakura doesn't understand, but Kakashi does. He's all right. Your goal. I mean, basically your goal, or your dream, come Okage, basically, which Sasuke smiles at that. And you know, my dream, as he gets real serious, and he says, is to make sure no gods come here and try to harm anyone in this world. As if they do, I will show them no mercy. As Sakura gets a little bit scared, and Kakashi's somewhat used to this, along with Sasuke. And then he goes back to being like happy and cheerful, and which Sakura's going like, okay, that's just weird. So yeah, he tells them to eat very little, and see them at the training grounds, and so they all go home. Kakashi's already there waiting. He basically tells him that it's gonna be, oh, you probably already know what's gonna be. He says, yeah, teamwork. So I got this. He goes, all right. He basically just does some studying. Then Nakura comes over and she has a bag with her. Not everything she has. She just asks if she can stay here for a couple of days. She doesn't like being home no more. It's just Minato and Menma. They don't even, talk to me. And this is, basically Kushina just hearing that she's mad at Minato now. But, Mori comes out. He heard her. He comes out. He basically makes multi-shackle jutsu. And, has. They get boxes. And they go right over to Minato's house. They grab everything of Nakura's. And just boom. Like, it's all in a guest room. And he just tells her, this is your room now. And you're staying here. I do not care. Even though I'm not really a big fan of yours, you're my sister. Alright? She goes, alright, you're gonna. He goes, yes. So, while the Shadow Clones, go out and they go out and play and such. And while he and her are unpacking everything, he tells her the story of him. And she says at the end of it, so I can't reach you? And he goes like, no, no, no. You can reach me, just not my godly strength. You can be better than me at anything, a lot of things, Nakura. I'm telling you, you can be better than me than in most things. When it comes to fighting, I'm just, I'm just gonna be too good. I'm not gonna be the best. I'll be the better than anyone on this planet, but when it will come to mostly strategies or healing or talking to people, understanding, you're gonna be better than me, a lot better than me. All right? She nods and she hugs him and says, she starts crying and says, thank you for everything. I'm sorry for treating you like the way I was, like you were nothing to me. And he's just hugging her. He's just letting her cry. Kakashi and Kushina sees this. She's happy that her daughter and her basically both her children are happy and loving each other, and she asks if basically if he can just stay in her room until she falls asleep, just talk and catch up on everything she missed out, just telling her the story of him. And he says, all right. So they got everything unpacked finally. She when he goes out of the room, lets her change. He comes back in, and well, she's already in bed, and he tells her the story on everything, even about the Nine Tails, how he became friends with him. Their relationship has grown even too. So he told him about his name. So he just says he's Karama. He can talk. He's not a monster, and well, we're friends. She goes, that's cool, and he just explains everything to her on what he's been doing. And before, after the whole time Kurama, talking, I mean, after he gets to when he was 10 years old, she falls asleep. He just smiles and he just leaves, turns off the light, and he left a note for Minato. Minato, is mad at this. So he's about to, even walk over to, Naruto's, Mori's house, try to get Nakura. But the Ambu and the third, and Hiruzen are there. And he says, you're not allowed to, and you're not allowed to harm Naruto. Not allowed to harm Nakura, Mori, or Kushina. Or even the person who else is living there. Basically, Kashi. And he's, what? What do you think I'm gonna do? He goes, to go get your daughter. You are not allowed to go anywhere near them. And as of today, you are not the fourth Hokage. He goes, what? He goes, the council has made a decision. They have put me back in charge. You are here now as just a normal civilian or as a Jonin. That is it, Minato. You brought this on yourself. Your actions have speaked that you do not like Mori at all. You consider him only a weapon while everyone else considers him a human being. Even Kushina had the Nine Tails. By extension, you consider her a weapon only too. You've fallen, Minato. Accept it. This is your own fault. As basically, he has banned, Minato from ever going to Mori's house. And unknowns to Minato, Menma heard this. And so he's surprised and hurt. He doesn't know what to feel. But he wants to blame someone, and he blames Mori or Naruto, whatever his name is. He thinks it's all his fault. His family's broken up because of him. It's mostly because of Minato, but he doesn't want to put it. He just wants to blame. He doesn't want to blame anyone else but Naruto or Mori. So yeah. Hold on, everyone. Alright, everyone. I'm in my room, but anyways. So yeah. So the next day, Naruto goes over to Team 7's training grounds. He's earlier than them. Kakashi is hidden. And, he's basically is watching what everyone is doing, Kakashi. Sasuke comes and Sakura. And, they see basically Mori just sitting there meditating. Basically his mindscape, talking to the Nine Tails. They're talking to Kurama. He is proud of Mori. And that he is very, surprised on what he can do. So, then, after waiting for about 10 minutes, Kakashi comes. And, they start doing the training, exercise, the team build, the teamwork. So, what happens is, and this is different, basically, before Kakashi, came, he made a plan with Sasuke and Sakura to just not go at him, but try to mislead him. He's like, huh? He goes, trickery. Let me trick him into believing something. And besides, I have a little tricks up my sleeve anyways. As, Sasuke doesn't understand, but, near to Sakura, but he says, trust me. Alright? And they're like, alright. And so, what happens is that, they decide to go head on at him, all three of them at once. And so, what happens is, well, during the fight, it's basically, Sasuke's, it's the same way like he was in canon. Sakura is a little bit more stronger and a little more in depth in taijutsu, and basically tripping people, like tricking people and misleading them. While Naruto's basically, just making shadow clones, trying to overwhelm him. Well, Sasuke, and Kakashi already went full, is going full out, because of he knows how strong Mori is, and so but he doesn't know this. He basically plucks a hair out of his head, and then all of a sudden, it changes into an actual version of him. I think that's how the cloning was in the God of High School. I want to say it is. Yeah, so basically, he does that, and then all of a sudden, like the shadow clones are going poof in front of Kakashi, as then a clone, obviously the clone of him that he made that has the similar strengths of him, is right then and there. And basically, he says, "Rasengan," and then they just hear fire style, fireball jutsu from Sasuke and the real Mori. And basically, it collides all into one, in which basically Kakashi made like a substitution just in time. Unknowns to him, Sakura is right there, and she grabs the bells, which surprised him actually. And so, he basically said, he says, all of you pass. And they're confused as, Mori smiles, says it was all about teamwork. We used teamwork, so we passed. And, he says, yes. Now then, who's hungry? As Mori says, me! So, yeah. That's the end of this, no. And then he says, though, on the way to the Ichiraku's ramen, still Mori likes ramen, but he doesn't eat it always, but he still is obsessive over ramen. He says, we're gonna be making some deer missions, and then he says, oh really? I've been doing those already in secret. He goes, wait, what? Sasuke goes, wait, what? He was like, yeah, I had to pay rent somehow. So, oh, okay. And she goes, wait, any jobs that need to be done, I did them. Surprisingly. So yeah, as basically everyone knows about Hiruzen took back place, which everyone kind of celebrated when they heard that. The council members said it had to be done because basically Minato was. They were afraid Minato was about to order something, and they did not want to have to put him away, because he's a good ninja, but he's also a father. So, yeah. Anyways, so that's the end of this video, everyone. I hope you guys enjoy it. Sorry for it being so long, but I want to get it out. Anyways, you guys all have a nice day, night, wherever you guys are. Bye.